If countries were students in the same school. Let's see which nation's gonna be the kid that says, don't come to school tomorrow. Poland is the law student, mentally not in the class, sometimes due to stress or family reasons. South Korea is the K-pop addict. I mean, that's probably the most obvious thing I've ever read. She has a huge crush on the BTS group. Yep, figured. Brazil's the party animal, knows to dance, sing, play instrument. He is the star of the inter-schools events. China is the suspicious kid. He takes another kid's homework and claims it as his own. That's a good one. Switzerland is the sleepy kid, doesn't care what is going on around him, sleeps during the whole class. He's also probably very diplomatic. He never gets involved in like fights. He probably plays both sides, so he comes out on top. England is the drama queen. She likes to make drama out of everything and anything and everything. Drama queen. Oh, queen. Okay, don't remind them. India is the religious kid. Most religious students in class, the most religious student in class and very competitive. Also the easiest one to offend. North Korea is the rude kid, mean and rudest guy in the class, belongs to the gang of bullies. But he's not the most powerful gang of bullies. Like if he did have a group, he probably would be the smallest and he'd be all talk, no bite. The UAE is the rich kid, uses only golden pens and always flaunts his private jets and Lambos. France is the cute kid. She's a cute kid whom everyone wants to date. She's probably very popular. I can totally see that. The United Nations is the class teacher. He's the father of the USA and hence biased towards him. Oof. Got us. Germany's the hard worker kid who tried hardest to reform as he sent to juvenile detention center. Yeah. We don't talk about that part of Germany's life as a child. He also might have split personalities between East and West Germany. Mexico is the class clown. He likes to crack jokes, but sadly has been catching bad habits. What's he rolling there? Argentina is the sports kid. He's quite famous among the girls. Of course, he plays football. He's a sports kid, but he really only plays football/soccer. Ukraine is the shy kid. He is shy kid in class. Recently broke friendship with Russia. No, recently he's been getting into multiple fights every single day after class against Russia. It's been pretty even though so far. World star Italy is this secret snack eater, is obsessed with pizza, pasta, lasagna, and keeps munching during the class. Pretty much could see that. Japan is the nerd kid. She's polite, but very quiet and tried to keep out of conflicts. She also loves anime and manga. No surprise there. United States is the manipulative kid, provokes fights between two kids, and is responsible for more than half of the fights in the class. Even if that kid isn't even involved, even if the US isn't even involved, we instigate stuff. We start proxy fights, and we'll be giving like training lessons to the kid that we want to win, like behind closed doors. Make sure you bob and weave a little bit uppercut. Afghanistan is the frightened kid. He is always frightened from everyone, especially yes, the USA fought the Afghanistan kid, and believe it or not, lost that one. That was a pretty big L the US kid took. And finally, Russia is the bully kid. Knows when to make his move, learns judo, and keeps a bear as a pet. Yes, that video is by Europia Explained. Please do subscribe. Here's part 2 with even more countries if they were classroom students in the same school. Let's see if we can maybe agree or disagree with some of these. With some of these, I'd make small tweaks, but I can see where they're getting at. Austria is the talkative kid, is literally a chat box, can't stop talking, shares everything with Germany. Also, kind of has some relation to the US where he instigates like massive gang riots. Austria is responsible for like the 2 biggest riots in the school where like one team formed and another team formed and they had like basically a world war. Everyone always forgets it's Austria's fault. Mongolia is the nervous kid. She is quite insecure about her heavy weight. She has been losing weight though. She used to be massively fat. Compared to where she was, she's been really slimming down. Monaco is the ultra rich kid. He's a rich kid with a gambling addiction and likes to spend money as there's no tomorrow. Australia is the adventurous kid. She's a girl whom everyone wants to date. She's adventurous and athletic. She does have quite the boyfriends, doesn't she, at times? Greece is the history nerd. He loves to talk about history. He can talk about history for hours. Tends to like to just live in the past. One of those countries that just can't give up what happened, can't live in the moment anymore. The absent kid, he is always off to vacation and is never actually in class, loves tropical beaches. Canada, the friendly kid, she is one of the cutest persons in class. Are all these girls? And loves to make friends. Yes, she's so apologetic too. Montenegro is the lazy kid. He is the laziest student in the class, sometimes even forgets to take roll call. Thailand is the popular kid. She's popular as her house is the most vacant and is the most common for hangouts/hookups. Netherlands, the tall kid, he's the tallest kid in class. This is because the Netherlands tends to be, I think they are the tallest on average in the world. Spain is the confused kid. He has no idea what he's doing here and what he wants to do in life. He's now having an existential crisis. He's kind of fighting himself as well. There's a piece of Spain as a kid that wants to break off like an arm. He likes to call that Catalonia. Venezuela is the wannabe kid. Due to his overspending and YOLO attitude, he is financially now in deep poop. Kenya is the athletic kid, the most athletic student among all, who belongs to a very poor family. And Scotland is the gas bag kid. He is lactose intolerant due to which he has a fart issue. That's great. Turkey is the overachiever kid. He can play music, cook good food, good at sports, and is good at everything. Finland is the split personality kid. There's so many of these country ball kids that have split personalities, I've noticed. Due to some disorder, he becomes happy and at times sad. He likes to go to saunas and probably drink vodka on his free time. Czechia is the bad kid. He likes to drink beer. Oh, maybe they hang out, Finland and the Czechia kid. They are kind of bad influences. Israel is the aggressive kid. He is the most aggressive kid if you try to bully him. Otherwise, he is one of the sweetest ones. Sweden is the activist kid. She is always ready to protest on anything which really gets annoying to others. And Somalia is the poor kid. There's rumors that he's robbed it, yada yada. He also likes to roleplay as a pirate sometimes. I loved those kids in high school. I feel like everyone had at least one friend that pretended to be a pirate for whatever reason. This school has changed around a lot because formerly these students were very differently. I guess these students you can consider their fathers and grandfathers when they were going to this very same world school. This is during World War II times. The Poland kid was the punching bag. The no-no Germans and Soviets regularly treat him as a punching bag. Japan Empire was the clumsy one that he destroyed Pearl Harbor and ended up seeing two sons. What a crazy difference between Japan's grandpa and Japan that's currently going to school right now, just the weird anime kid. Italian Empire, the confused kid. He likes to go to war unprepared, so he starts fights for no reason, gets his butt kicked. Usually his friend Germany likes to back him up. The British Empire is the greedy kid. He was unable to control his greed for money and power, which ultimately resulted in his downfall. Belgium is the weakest kid. Anyone can overpower him, especially the no-no German kid. The Soviet Union kid is the brainwashed kid. He got misguided by his enemy to destroy his brother-like friend whom he used to love a lot. What? Okay, British Empire kid, the kidnapped kid. He's kidnapped by the Britishers, and wait, we have kids. Man, school was so different back in the 1940s. You had students kidnapping other students. What the hell? Spain's the psycho kid. He likes to harm himself for taking pleasure. This is because Spain was going into a civil war during World War II. France, the French student is the serial quitter. Just quits. He's not very good at sports. As soon as he has to fight anything that he doesn't think he's gonna win, he's just like throws up the white flag. He doesn't want to do it anymore. China is the refugee kid, so maybe the foreign exchange student. He used to be nice to everyone, but later in life he became a bad person and took revenge. Germany is the brave kid who took a stand against the cartel but got destroyed by his own friend. And the United States, or the rich kid, he likes to show off his money. Like I said, our grandpas went to a completely different school. It doesn't even seem recognizable. Again, that was by Europia History. Please go subscribe. Now, if every U.S. state was a kid in a classroom going to the same school, Alaska is the lonely guy that tries too hard to get attention. Texas is the big guy, tough guy, but has problems with the law and the school. Yeah, his confidence kind of backfires, his own ego. Florida's the weird kid that has done literally nothing wrong, but everyone still hates him for some reason. California is the social media whoa! My state, I mean, I can't really deny that. Grades aren't doing that well either. Yeah, she likes to pretend like she's perfect, but that's not how it is in reality. Ohio is the ignored kid who is a student council elections coming up. Oh, only when the student council elections coming up, the presidential elections. Utah is the religious kid that wears suits and collars every day to school. He also rides a bike for whatever reason. Hawaii is the hot girl that traps the rich guys. Yes, Louisiana is the one that has the weird voice. Wait, what? The weird voice? Oh, because Louisiana has like the weird language, the Creole language, like a weird French thing. Vermont is the popular kid that's also a bookworm. Wyoming barely goes to class. Sometimes people forget he exists. Exactly. He's just so quiet, like no one even sees him there. Kentucky, known for having the best and least healthy school lunches. He's always eating chicken every day. I don't even know why. South Carolina changes his mind on everything, often switches between clubs. West Virginia is the one accused of being part redneck club, but they were actually pro-union student. This is referencing the U.S. Civil War. That's kind of funny. Virginia is the one with so much good and bad history, people just forget about everything. Massachusetts, vivid history, records the school's fist fight. Wait, what? Records the school's fist fights? They are the persons that posts on World Star. Is that what they're saying? Washington always sits back in class, no matter what. Good grades. The simple kid from Indiana. Georgia is the fat kid, likes to drink tea all the time. Tennessee, the school clown, very well liked among those he knows. He also has a giant pyramid he likes to show people. It's pretty much his prized possession in Memphis. Colorado is the school's weed dealer. They were the first to legalize it. Delaware is the girl people keep hitting on for whatever reason. I don't know anything about thought Delaware, to be honest. New Jersey's the short kid. Oof. Rhode Island is the really short kid. New York is the kid with money, surprisingly isn't a spoiled brat. Unsurprisingly, he doesn't have a good budget. New Mexico is the kid that has never done anything good or bad, average grades. Michigan works his butt off, spends more time at school at his job than at school. Maine is the big outdoors guys, loves going fishing, definitely loves crabs and sea fish and all that stuff. Isn't that where we get most of that stuff from? Just Red Lobster sort of things. Maryland is the guy that brings salt and pepper, even Old Bay, to lunches. North Dakota, parents are farmers from country music fanatics. North Dakota, really? Country music? Isn't that supposed to be Tennessee? South Dakota, parents have even larger farms. Country music is auditory drugs. North Carolina loves college football more than pro football. Also has that. That goes for a lot of U.S. states, just because like if you don't have an NFL team, a lot of states just love their college football teams more. Montana is the kid that wears soccer shorts in January. Wisconsin is the big time drinker, beats everyone at the parties. Wisconsin is most famously known to be the drunkest state in all the U.S. Oklahoma is the nicest kid in school. Nobody knows why, except to Texas. He kind of has a rivalry with Texas. Nevada is the kid that is always selling chips, soda, gum, etc. Has business ventures. Yes, Kansas is that kid that's usually nice but will immediately fight and talk trash. Also has a lot of tornadoes. I don't know what a metaphor for student in classrooms and tornadoes could be, but whatever. Idaho is the kid that wants the official, always shows up. Oregon, always largest Starbucks class energy drink inside. Minnesota literally is the only kid in the hockey club. Nebraska is made entire project out of the Cornhuskers kernels. Really likes corn for whatever reason. Nebraska does. I don't know why. Iowa is the girl that hates being flat. Oof. Illinois takes school spirit a bit too seriously. Alabama made a song on YouTube about themselves and was popular for like 2 weeks. Also goes to school drunk as a fish. That's well, I shouldn't say that's me. I'm just gonna move on. Kentucky, rich kid, but his parents are stingy as hell. New Hampshire, the smart kid that lets you copy his homework, no questions asked. Pennsylvania, no one knows where this guy came from, but his accent is so terrible that you need subtitles to understand his English. Mississippi is the girl who needs to pronounce and spell her name to the substitute teacher every single damn time. Arizona, always the water fountain's unquestionable thirst. Literally, he's got some sort of depression he's just always dehydrated. Arkansas does tobacco. Missouri, always sad because people pronounce it Missouri. Misery, yes. Accurate. That was by Data YouTuber. Please go subscribe. I have to agree with all these. I really wish there was like an anime episode about this. Why hasn't that been done yet? Let me make the anime. Japan, call me. Top 15 countries with international students here in the United States. So we're starting off in 1999. I really want to try to make a prediction on who I think is going to win here. Obviously, China is going to be up there. China and India probably will remain in number 1 and number 2. I think. I don't know if there's like been a drop off of Chinese students since like the Chinese-US rivalry has kind of continued to grow as of recently. But in 1999, there's almost 60,000 foreign exchange Chinese students going to the U.S. schools back in these days. Let's have Japan, South Korea, almost entirely out of Asia. Only Canada is the next country. And then more Asian countries, Indonesia, Thailand. I'm thinking, so international students, I was going to say, I'm thinking Mexico should grow. I mean, just because of their neighboring, because they're a big neighbor. But I don't think they're going to crack the top 3, I would say. I don't think they're going to crack the top 3. If anything, maybe they'll pass up Canada, though. So here we are in the 2000s. Things are definitely going to change pretty soon here. We've got Colombia up there, Pakistan, the UK, only 8,000 foreign exchange students from the UK. That's a little bit surprising. I mean, I know it's only 2001, but I feel like, I never had a British exchange student in my US school, but I thought I knew friends from other schools that did. I think we had a Korean kid. I remember having like one kid, I think a girl from South Korea. So a total of, wow, I'm actually surprised that only 500,000 students from other countries back in 2002. And actually the number's dropping a little bit. Now, 9/11 did just happen around these times. I don't know if that has anything to do with it or what's going on. Actually, India did pass up China. They're almost at 80,000 students at this time. Canada is passing up Taiwan, more than likely. Taiwan doesn't have that much population, but considering their population, we have a lot of their students, interestingly enough. Brazil has kind of grown. We actually have Kenya here in the top 15. That's interesting. Didn't expect to see Kenya. By 2004, we finally have an increase because the international students actually began to drop a little bit. So we're going to enter into 2005, and I think, we're going to continue to see the numbers tick back up. And there hasn't been much changes except for Thailand now passing Germany in 2005. This is when I was still going to school. but I don't remember. Nepal, I did not expect to see Nepal here. Also Saudi Arabia joining the club. We have China starting to gain on India here, while they're really exploding by 2007, and South Korea pulling ahead of Japan. Why? Where did all the Japanese students go in 2007? Canada's actually going to pass them up, it looks like, at least if trends continue that way. Vietnam now rising up in the ranks a bit. Brazil is getting more and more. I would assume more countries in South America will continue to kind of rise up in the top 15. I'm wondering if some of these places are going to drop off a little bit. We're now still at only about 700,000 international students by 2008. China has repassed India now, having over 100,000 foreign exchange students, international students, however you want to say it, in United States schools, and they're exploding past everyone. South Korea and India are actually still growing. Oh, India's actually dropping a little bit. It's just that China's growing so fast that the bar is getting insane. I wonder why China momentarily lost a little bit and then they redid it. I don't know. It's 2010 now. I am no longer in school. I am in college at this time. France is now in the top 15. And Saudi Arabia is actually fourth, surprisingly. South Korea is actually going down. Now, I'm sure population numbers have a little bit to do with this, especially, I mean, I think it definitely does, because people are having less and less children now, especially as we enter into 2011, 2014, 2015. That's all making a factor. Meanwhile, China at this time is still having some population growth, and I think this explains why South Korea is actually going down. We're getting closer to having 1 million international students. We are definitely going to hit 1 million by the end of this video. France has re-entered the top 15. The UK and France still at the very, very bottom. Brazil continues to grow, and actually Brazil is passing up Mexico. Yeah, I wasn't sure where Mexico was going to land. Canada is still beating out Mexico, surprisingly enough, but Taiwan, I think, is definitely destined to fail, I think, more than likely. Nigeria at almost 10,000 students. Again, this is going to change. These numbers are really not that big. Only 10,000 students. Things can drop off really fast year to year, honestly. Okay, so India is starting to explode back in 2014. China is still growing, but watch as India slowly is catching up. Saudi Arabia just passed up South Korea. Oh, South Korea regained the title a little bit. They've been falling a lot. We've got Turkey and Nepal still somewhat getting up there. I wonder why so many people from Nepal really like the USA, just considering Nepal is so far away from the USA. You'd think Nepal would go to school in Britain or somewhere in Europe. I don't know. It just really depends. Iran, there's a lot of Iranian students in 2006. That's kind of surprising. 12,000. Japan is still at 18,000. We now have entered over 1 million international students. China at almost 500,000 foreign exchange students by 2018. That is insane. Meanwhile, India students is actually going down. I think South Korea might be safe for that third place position because Saudi Arabia is actually slightly dropping. Meanwhile, Brazil continuing to grow. Mexico's kind of stagnated by 2019. Everything's going to change during the pandemic. Let's see what happens in 2020. I'm assuming people probably didn't want to go to school anymore. I mean, what was the point? Maybe it was even easier actually because they were doing, wow, India's really exploding in 2020. I don't know if this is going by month here, but wow, India might be passing up China. This is really when tensions increase a lot between the US and China, the little rivalry that's going on. So it does look like China's actually falling. Meanwhile, India's exploding. 2021, we're still in the pandemic, but things are starting to get a little bit better by 2022. Bam. Okay, that was a little bit fast. I'm thinking by now, India has passed up China. South Korea did get that third place spot, and surprisingly, a lot of Canadians. I never really knew that Canadians went to school in the US as foreign exchange students. They blend in so well. Vietnam is actually 5th, and yeah, I was wrong. Taiwan is doing great. Nigeria really exploded. Nepal's still very high. Absolutely insane that 53% of international students come from just India and China alone, which shouldn't be surprising considering their population. Again, I always talk about this. I mean, India and China both have 1 billion population, so in general, not a majority, but almost half of all humans come from just those two countries. Almost half? No, actually not almost half. Like a quarter. Now, China, I would assume, coming up here will only continue to drop. We did see them kind of stop, and India just continue to explode. India's population is still growing, and again, the diplomatic tensions between the two countries might have things slow down a little bit. Interesting that Canada's responsible for 3% of international students here in the USA, just because Canada's not that big, but considering proximity, maybe it shouldn't be that surprising at all. Mexico's not even in the list. And South Korea responsible for 4% of all international students. Again, that's a lot considering they're on the other side of the world and they only have like 40 million people, something like that. Meanwhile, Japan has over 100 million, but they only have 2% international students in the USA, and a whole 2% coming from Brazil, Nigeria, Saudi Arabia, Vietnam, and Taiwan. You can actually see there was a dramatic decrease during COVID of new international students, a drop of negative 46%. Then we had an explosion, obviously, the following year, and then now things are evening out back to 14%. Now, this is new growth per year, so we'll see where this trend continues. This video was by Top Data Chart. Really interesting video. Please go subscribe. Please go subscribe to all these channels. Love breaking down these data sort of driven videos. I feel like there's a lot of things to talk about. And big thanks to my patrons.
DrewI'mYourDadBackWithTheMilkLookOutside.
Kansas was mentioned.
DOOCHBAGGINS.
aPhatNarwhal.
Carmel
Amateur Archaeology.
DaBeautiful-MEGAN-Underwood.
Edward. Fredrik
Henrik
Hedlund.
Without
InquisitorXarius.
Traven's annoying friend.
KirinoIsBestGirl.
LuxembourgLover.
RyeThePie.
I love
The
Tambre.
Mexican 760.
And ZaneyBoi.